Financial disclaimer. The information provided in this stream is for educational and informational purposes only and should not be considered as professional financial or investment advice. We are not licensed financial advisors, and the content presented here is based on our personal opinions and experiences. Investing in stocks and other financial instruments involves risk, including the potential loss of capital. Any investment decisions you make are solely your own responsibility, and you should conduct your own research and consult with a qualified financial professional before making any investment choices. The content we share on this stream may not be accurate, complete, or up to date. Market conditions and financial regulations can change rapidly, and we cannot guarantee the accuracy or reliability of the information presented. We do not endorse or promote any specific stocks, companies, or investment strategies. Any actions you take based on the content of this stream are at your own risk, and we will not be held liable for any losses or damages that may occur as a result. Always remember that past performance is not indicative of future results, and no investment is guaranteed to be profitable. Make informed decisions and consider your risk tolerance before investing any funds. By accessing and using this stream, you acknowledge and agree that we are not responsible for any investment decisions you make as a result of the content presented. You are encouraged to seek advice from qualified financial professionals for personalized guidance. Please invest responsibly and only with money you can afford to lose.
Hey man, just found the next guaranteed multi-bagger.
Hey man, you found another one? What is it this time?
Come check this out.
Okay, next please. How can I help you, young man?
We want to go all in on NAAS. We don't care about the foreign risk, we love a scammy history, and we can't wait for the potential share illusion.
Well, that's fantastic. A really smart decision, young man. We can put that check and it's gone.
Welcome everybody to the Laughing Stock. Johnny, how you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Watching the development in all the tickers that we have talked on this week. So there's a lot of things to pay attention to, I think.
Nice.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just changing my speakers because my other half had moved them around, and I feel like it's picking up your audio pretty strong. So I just don't want to have it get too crazy.
Okay. What do you think about NAAS? We have we've been posting a few similar companies on the intro video before, right? Like foreign companies that are a bit shady, maybe.
Yeah, I mean this is a nice looking chart. Although I would say you're a bit late to the party. We're talking about shorting this, right?
No.
Yeah, this is one of those things. I just want to look at a longer chart here, like a 3-year weekly. Like, I just feel like it's tough on some of these Chinese ones because I really wonder how much information people actually have, because it's just like is there anything on this one? Can you find any information on this company, or is it just like people just kind of just investing?
I think I skimmed through some of the articles I found on it, and there was like some promising things to it earlier this year, and then I just guessed that it has been uncovered that maybe the management is not the best,
I mean, I'm just on Yahoo here, but just look at, first off, this is how dumb Yahoo is. Recommending strong buys in April and May. Yeah. Good choice. Yeah. You're down 90%, and this is the part that kind of blows my mind. Last year was minus $5 billion, and then this year so far is minus $1 billion. Which, don't get me wrong, sure that's a $4 billion less loss, but revenues only went up $200 million. I mean, anybody who's buying this, I think you're nuts.
Yeah.
But
no, I thought it was a good candidate for our intro.
No, it's great. It's perfect. But I mean, who knows? I mean, now that we're down at 240, I mean, maybe this is where you could start to argue it's going to be worth something.
Yeah,
you know,
I saw some mention like more potential share dilution and that they were definitely going bankrupt. So I think I would avoid it even still. But once again, this is just for fun. You know, we are not doing proper research on the tickers that we put out in the intro. It's just like, you know, things that are beaten up a lot and that we think looks a bit shady, maybe sometimes at least.
Yeah, I haven't even finished my coffee yet, guys. So don't listen to anything I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's just complete nonsense. That's the whole point of this stream, to be honest.
Yeah, it kind of is, right?
I would like to think no, but we are the laughing stock, so you know.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the
good.
dashboard. Doesn't look like too much went on this week.
No, we had a bounce in Alto. I covered that on the Thursday. 11% up. It went down the day after, 3-4% down again. But we might as well start with Alto, right? Because it's a position that we are both in. I know some of the viewers that we have in the chat and stuff have told us that they are also involved. So there's some interest in amongst the subscribers too, you know. But I'm still. It has not been any new development since Thursday. But I must say I'm positive towards Alto right now, where we are now, and I think I'm very happy that I managed to average down where I did.
See, I think, right here, right there is right here. We are just getting back to this point. This is where we are here, and we're just about to do this on this part here.
I hope so. There's too many lines now, Dane. I can't keep up here.
See, general trend downwards, and we broke through right there on that one.
Yeah.
This is why the lines are your best friend, guys. You just draw it right where you want it. You just show that you broke out. Problem solved. At this point, it screams by.
Yeah. If the thing is down under the line or over the line, it doesn't really matter, right?
I mean, look I could do this too, and I wasn't doing this, guys. So this is how you know it's accurate. I could have put it down there and just said, look, we broke through way up here. I didn't do that.
Yeah. No.
I put it right there.
You have. I think this is. I think this is good analysis.
I've read so many books, so it's just, you know, you just realize that the lines, it's all about how you draw them.
Yeah, I need to read some of those books where you learn how to draw lines too, I think, because I think I would have a different color on mine, to be honest.
Well, I think I can change the color. I can go green. We can go red. I mean,
oh my god.
The last one I read was my toddler's one. It was a Halloween book, and you got to color and draw lines. And that one, I learned a lot from that one specifically.
I think you're onto something here.
See, that's a good line.
That's a good line.
And
it's
there's
straight.
The next good line.
Yeah.
So, I mean, not financial advice, guys, but I mean, you can just kind of see what we're hinting at here.
All right.
But yeah, I mean, to be honest, kind of like you and I said, I do think if we look at a longer form chart, though, to be in all seriousness, now granted this is COVID and things got kind of nutty there, but even on where's the 3 year? We are at this bottom again. It did bounce from here last time, and I know it's technicals, but it's more in the cyclicality of what's going on here. So once again, we're getting into this low May-June period, and it's even seasonally looking the same, which last time the idea was that the crush margins would start to increase right now, and that they'd be able to profit from that, and headed into the next earning report, which is around August time period, right? That's when the next one is? Yeah. So I'm not saying I have no idea what it's gonna do from here, regardless of what the charts and my beautiful lines are saying. But I do think we're headed into an optimistic period, at least, where if they can do anything on this next earnings report that looks a little bit bullish, and kind of change what the future trajectory of at least for this year is, and we don't have any crazy one-off events. If we're gonna have a one-off event, it better be them selling the Western assets. Something that really benefits the stock. But I just think down here it looks great, and I hoping that we saw a bottom there. Now, I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. Like you said, there was a little pullback, but
I also think on Thursday I pulled up Justin's tweet, right, where Courage also was commenting with the crush margins. And remember 1 year ago, Dane, when Q2 came, there was a lot of positive sentiment around ALTO moving into Q3 as well. But my point was, if you look at the crush margins now, according to Justin's calculations, which has been very accurate in the past, they are way better now than 1 year ago in terms of the environment that they are dealing in.
right.
And if you go back 1 year ago, this was we were moving into a very good period for ALTO, and if they are like on the way now to do even better than that, and maybe you also get, like you said, a asset sale or something like that. I think I think you will see some big moves.
Yeah, I mean, and we've pulled this up a bunch of times too, but to be in all seriousness too, I mean, we are way below book value. We're not like overburdened with debt or anything here, so the company's fine. It's just they need to finally get to the point where they can get some of these margins back. And I mean, you saw what the even a few % increase in these margins can do. It makes a huge difference in the stock trajectory. And
also I see.
Even on a free cash flow basis, last year it was positive. So, earnings aren't quite there yet, but at least they're not like diluting the heck out of shareholders or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, and I think also, I think the previous report was not as bad as people wanted it to be. I don't think it was that bad. I saw the share price drop 20% or something. Obviously, people expected way more, but I don't think it was that bad. And I've seen also, and I also said that at the time, I see some comments in some of the articles I read about ALTO now that, people are still angry about management, and they feel like there's no near-term things that can turn this around, which I strongly disagree with that. That's kind of the thesis, the carbon sequestration deal with Volt now. That's one thing that they have said that they're going to move forward with and try to, right now the deal is not finished. So that's going to be a big milestone for them, according to themselves.
Right.
So that's one thing that you can have as a near-term catalyst. Another one is that they have actually split out the profits and from the different plans that they have in the balance sheet and the cash flow statements and stuff like that. So then you can start to speculate, right? If that's to show how well they are performing over there, so it will be easier for them to sell it off. If that's true, that's another catalyst that is near term as well. So I disagree that there are no things in the near future here that can move the price,
Yeah, and I still stick with this. They've talked about selling the Western assets, so it's at least on their mind. Jeremy Rapier, who had initially was the one who brought that whole point up when he had invested in them, he was shooting for a price target. I think it was $6, right?
6.5, yeah.
Okay, 650 even. So, I see this market cap at 111 right now, and this is even after a nice little bounce that we got here. And I did add to my position here, and just to pull up the portfolio, just so everyone can see, ALTO is my largest position right now at about 12%, just over DK. But like I said, I just don't think you're going to get much opportunity down here. And to be honest, I know you're saying that the earnings report was rough and it was down 20%, but if anything, all that did for us was create the buying opportunity. And, you know, all things aside of us joking about the chart, I mean, the one thing the chart shows you, you know, if you're looking at like RSI, is like people have given up. This is the point where like anybody who was going to hold out and you know, didn't want to sell, it got this low and they're just like, screw it, I'm out. I'm going to just take the hit, and they've backed out. And when you start to see that reversal, this means there is no more sellers. I mean, there's people who are still invested that are just like, no, I don't care, I'm going to hold through, such as yourself. And, you know, I think you start to see it, and then the rest of us are going to come in here because we're all saying like, all right, this is obviously extremely cheap at this point. So, and don't get me wrong, there's still risks. They could underperform. There's blah, blah, blah. Things could go wrong. They could have a fire randomly at one of their plants. You know, all kinds of crazy stuff can happen.
Yeah. And we are by no means saying that things, more negative things cannot happen, because the history shows in ALTO that there has been a lot of negative things. A lot of things they can't control.
Right.
They have been unlucky as well. But that doesn't mean that these things cannot happen again. So we are fully aware of that. And of course, let's say the deal with Volt doesn't go through and they have to postpone the carbon sequestration program, or you know, maybe there's some new. I have talked about some articles in Illinois talking about how they will maybe slow down and put the brakes on the rollout of carbon sequestration programs and stuff like that. So there are risks that can delay the project, cancel it altogether, I guess. Management can mess up and like, you know, we are not saying that these things cannot happen, but I just don't think they will. I don't. Obviously, this is also my largest position, so I'm not thinking that these things will happen.
Right. Well, I mean, cheap can always get cheaper. So never assume we're truly at the bottom. Who knows? It doesn't. It's not like, I mean, like I said, that chart doesn't really mean anything. It's just. Yeah. It's just something to reflect on, but.
But we have been watching ALTO for a while now, both of us, and both of us also, without speaking to each other much, we added at around the same time. So I guess there's a reason for that too, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, they do. I mean, they do have cash on hand right now. It's really just they just need to now finally perform. But my point being is, yes, there could be bad news that could come out still, and maybe they don't perform quite as well as we want. But you know, I'm starting to hedge that I don't think it can be much worse than it is. I think even if they came out with poor guidance at this point, I think everybody would just kind of be like, yep, it's the same old, and just kind of it would kind of teeter where it's at. I don't think it will go too much further past this point. Now, I don't know. And like I said, the last time it got so cheap was way back in COVID. I don't think we're going to get that low again. Where's like
and at that time, this was a completely different company as well. They've had a big transformation in that time. So, you know, I'm bullish. I like the stock.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And I mean, don't get me wrong. Obviously, it can do whatever it wants to do here. Could I see it get way down to $1? I do. I think we're just kind of turning around here. So
yeah. And let's say that you get a good report now, and let's say that you get some breakthrough in the deal with Volt, and maybe some more talks about the Western Assets play. This is also not impossible, because these are all things they have been talking about already.
Yeah, and the other thing too is
if they update on the Volt situation, that the market feels like, okay, this is moving forward in the right direction and we like it, and then they continue to speak like the chance of them selling the Western Assets is still there as a possibility, and then the earnings report in itself is pretty good. I mean, that can happen also, you know, and that's going to be enough to move the price too.
Right. No, that's what I'm saying. I feel like at this point there's like 3 or 4 positive catalysts that we're waiting on.
Yeah.
You know, whether that be an earnings report, Volt, you know, kind of coming out and saying what they're going to do, you know, showing that the carbon sequestration program's like really starting to kick along and things are starting to look positive on that. And then even just, I mean, like you said, just at a baseline, the crush margins, I think that's why I've become most bullish right now, is because of all those things that I think, what's the most realistic bull or bear scenario right now would be that the company continues to underperform. They're not optimizing their plants, which it doesn't sound like that. They took the hit last quarter by optimizing their plants, by making sure everything was finished and ready to go forward. And now I think with crush margins being positive, it doesn't look like I can't think in my mind a reason why, if the crush margins are that positive right now, that they're not becoming, that the profit's not being good right now. Like it looks, everything looks good to me.
Yeah. And after these earnings in August or whenever it is, either way, it doesn't matter what happens. I have to reassess the thesis after we know the information we get then. Either it's going to be that I'm still going to be in it, or they have messed up again, and I have to reconsider what I'm going to do moving forward. This is kind of the period I have been waited for all the years I've been in ALTO, to be honest.
Right. And not that I'm not to joke around, because people are very successful at technical analysis, and I'm just looking at this and I'm just saying, if you're looking for some kind of like breakout type thing, I really think we're there. And I know some people just like laugh at technicals, but at the same time too, there's a lot of people who take it really seriously, and I'm telling you, there's going to start to be signals that this is a buy on a technical side, and when those guys start to pour into this, you're going to get a bunch of people coming in here looking for bullish news. And if they start to update themselves on the story, this could quickly turn around.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm happy where my average is right now. I'll tell you that. So we'll see. Another thing I'd like to point out too is it looks like when we really hit a bottom here. Just want to get out of that, but when we really hit this bottom here, this is at like kind of the lows, and you'll notice that volume starts to pick up in here.
Yeah.
If you look at some of the previous, I mean, it's bounced around, but I'm just saying it looks like we're starting to gain a little bit of volume down here. Things are looking like they're all turning around at the moment.
Yeah. And we have both been involved in this when exactly these things have happened before. So we have seen it go up to. I was even involved when it was at $7.
Yeah, and like you said too, I mean, if there's a sale or if there's anything just positive, I just think we're looking for good news going forward, which is kind of where I want to. If I'm going to get something in on something that's cheap, it's looking forward out a few months and seeing that the story looks bright.
Yeah. So it's just interesting to me right here. It was nice to see some updates from Justin as well, and to see that also Courage was very excited about it. I went through it on Thursday, so if you didn't watch the stream on Thursday, you can see all the other accounts that I pulled up as well. Mm-hmm. There are other big accounts that are monitoring ALTO and talking about it like it looks cheap down here, exactly where it is now. So we are not the only ones that see this.
No, because I'm sure they see what we see.
Yeah.
Just to go over my portfolio a little bit. I wish I would have added heavier to CSP. It's had a pretty good run since I got in, so I'm kind of holding right here. I don't know how much room it has to run, but I think it, like I said, I went over it last time, so I won't delve in too much, but fundamentals look good. Insiders are in. There's, just in general, kind of normal bullish stuff. Last week was finally a better week, positive at least. Everything was green, besides Mastercraft, which that's another one that we should probably delve a little bit in us. Which Mastercraft, I think same kind of thing. I think it's just kind of gonna. It might take a little bit for that one to play out, but it's also a smaller position. I mean, not small. It's still almost 4%, but not smaller is in comparison, but goal is just to keep getting back to positivity here. Still down about 1.5% right now. And earlier this month it was poor, but that was, like I said, I was really playing around with the technicals and trimming and stuff like that, and I was just I wasn't really being careful with what I was doing because I wanted to test things, which I don't recommend doing. Probably should get a paper account when I'm doing that kind of thing and not use actual money, but it's whatever. It's this, like I said, this portfolio is kind of extra. So that being said, we'll keep an eye. I did take a position in Array. I just thought it was starting to get cheaper again. So hopefully that works out. It wasn't super cheap, and like I said, it was really more on the technical side that I was interested. It looks like the chart just reverses a lot, but it is starting to break that trend. So I might not hold that one very long if I think things continue to break down, because on the actual side of business and whatnot, it definitely has some negative catalysts involved. So, but so far that's where I'm at. So I'm happy with these, and obviously we always continue to find more stuff. There's always so many things to look at. It's insane. I feel like I wish this was a full-time job, because I could easily spend, 8 hours a day doing research. So.
Yeah. Yeah, we are going through the daily movers and the weekly movers often on the streams, but there are other screening methods that we use as well, and we are also on the look for developing new screening methods and what to look for. So there's always something to find,
Right. And I do like being able to follow the metrics, which the metrics aren't everything, but it does help to see when something's trading super cheap on tangible, or it has pretty positive cash flow, and even free cash flow, sometimes even earnings, and it just looks like it's not really being appreciated. Obviously there's always a little bit more in depth than just looking at some metrics. But hell, even price to sales sometimes I find interesting, just because if something like this SSP here, which I've been in at times, it's trading at 90. My metrics are backwards, which I did because that's what Arcade did, which in hindsight it's a little bit of a pain because it's tough to compare it to everybody, but it's trading at like 80%, or it's 80% less than what it should be for that kind of revenue. So based on its market cap. So who knows? And sometimes it's like I see that, and then I'll pull up the chart, and then you can start to see that these things, they just, it's the same. It's almost like, it looks similar to Alto. It just gets so cheap down here that eventually it's got to bounce back. It's just all of a sudden I get it. There's bearish stories about things, but after all this, and it gets down to here, this is a 5-year chart and we're getting this low. I mean, you can go in and do some basic math and realize that this price here, even if they have only a few more years left before they can figure out everything, it doesn't make sense. It shouldn't get that cheap. Not until it's going to go bankrupt.
Yeah,
because you never know.
Those situations.
What's up?
In those situations, you don't necessarily need a lot for it to bounce back a little bit, and maybe then you are happy with the gain you have, even if it's not a double or a triple or something like that. Maybe you are happy with a 20% or whatever it is,
Right. So, and that's where you get a 14% gain, and I've definitely taken more of a few positions now where I've definitely more of a swing trade, which I'm working on. It's not something that I've done historically all that much, just more as a traditional value investor. But at least for this portfolio, sometimes if you can get a 30% return in a week or two, it's, in my opinion, that's you can swing trade those things. There's nothing against it. And out on the stream, I try and tell you guys, if I'm in something, how long I'm looking at kind of holding it. I try to be as upfront as that. I show you my position sizes. Once again, it's never financial advice. Always do your own due diligence. But I'm definitely working on that part of the portfolio, especially in this more high risk, which is just trying to time some of the stuff better, as we've been talking about. So
yeah, And at least I try to sit down and look at things every day. Some days I can't do it, but I try to do it every day. And we only stream 3 times per week, so we do a lot of work outside of the streams as well. So then we might decide on a move, between the streams. But
Right.
then our promise and our goal is to always be transparent with what we are doing. So. But that can happen that you see now that Dane has moved into a stock, and then on when Tuesday comes, he might be out again.
Yeah, and to be honest, I will not be ashamed to tell you that if I'm in something and I get like 30 to 50% back in like a week or two, that I'm not going to get out, because sometimes, like I said, it's just something gets kind of so oversold, and the argument against it, everyone's just bearish, but at the same time too, it's unrealistic, because like I said, if you look at valuation, there's an optionality to things, and if something still has a few years left in it, that's potential. And just look at like Rivian, for instance, this week, and some of the other ones, where all of a sudden they get like a little influx of cash, and it comes back from dead, because everyone's now saying like, oh, they only probably got like a year or two left, and it gets so cheap that even in that year or two, it's worth taking a small position if you're that kind of investor, because if anything happens that saves it, all of a sudden you get 100% return in a week or two, which
Yeah.
Like I said, in a high risk portfolio like this, that's the kind of opportunities you have to look for.
Yeah.
And I find the strategy is really becoming a mix of those, and then more like ALTO and ARC, where it's the overall story of the company is looking better, and things are going to turn around. And yeah, it's a little bit longer of a holding pattern, but at the same time too, if it takes me 3 or 4 months and I get like a 3-bagger or a 4-bagger, I don't care. Wait, I mean, who cares? It's it's a huge return.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And we're talking months. I mean, people wait years to get that kind of return. I mean, the only other style of investing I find, I mean, don't get me wrong, I know some people successfully day trade, but the only other style I think that you can get those kind of returns is holding something for, like the Warren Buffett style, which, we're not doing that on the stream. No one wants to see me invest in something and be like, yeah, I can't wait 15 years from now, this is going to kill it. that's not, I mean, I'm not saying that's not great investing, but I'm saying like it's not for a stream. Like no one's gonna watch that.
No, we are a bit quicker, but everything we do though is deep value based and fundamentally based, and even if we pull up the charts, we have looked at the numbers ahead of it, so it's not like we Nashkar has been in the chat here a few streams. I know he's doing day trading, and we have talked a little bit with him that all respect to the people who do day trading, and to me it seems like he's highly successful at it. So I just couldn't do it myself. It would be that style doesn't work for me.
Yeah, well, and that's kind of why I said, like, because I've talked with a few traders now, because I do feel like my understanding of technical analysis has really skyrocketed in this past year. And when I'm trying to use it, I have these different like theories in my head of how just the psychology of the markets work. And the tough thing I find with day trading is that you're fighting against like computers and like such small increments of time. It's honestly luck, in my opinion. I mean, don't get me wrong, you can hedge those odds in your favor, but a lot of it's just luck in terms of your timing on those kind of things. And I don't have the time to sit here and spend all day watching a chart go up and down. Like, that's nuts to me. I'm not doing that. But, something that's interesting and I want to hold it for a week or two, that's something I can do. I can keep an eye on something for a few days, that kind of thing, and just kind of play around with what the general market's throwing me. But always like you said, always in the hindsight of, I know what the company is, I know what the narrative currently is, and then I'm just using the charts to kind of play around with that and see what the general market thinks about what the story is.
Yep.
I'm just about finished with Answat's book, Narrative and Numbers. It's good read. It's interesting how much just the narration can affect the stock price overall, regardless of actually what's going on.
Yeah.
Do you want to start moving on to some of the tickers for the fundamentals?
Yeah, we can jump into some of the tickers that we have prepared for the stream, I think.
Yeah, I brought in LLAP. Shout out to Value. He threw that ticker to me on X.
Yeah.
Hold on. What I'm going to do real quick is let me just update my fundamental stuff. So while we're doing that, why don't we do some charts? Because it'll take a minute for that to update. So what do you want to do? You want to do insiders?
Yeah, we can do insiders. If I remember correct, I think I've heard Value speak about that ticker before too.
Which one's that?
LLAP.
Okay, all right.
I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, I'll definitely we'll do a little bit of a dive here. So these are all things that have had insiders buy within the past week. So I've looked at ADV before. This looks pretty good. A lot of volume here.
Yeah, that's high volume.
But there, it looks like kind of a pullback. It's tough though not having the. You don't actually. I feel like if we're gonna do this, just go to the actual insider and let's see if there's anything just here that looks interesting. Because I feel like if I don't have this, it's so tough just to look at the chart.
Yeah.
There's a CSPI. There we go. Huge buy, 78. Huge.
It's a bit annoying when you see it lights up as an insider buy, and then you go in and you check the price is like, below 100.
Yeah, but whatever. It's still something,
It's still something, and maybe 3 or 4 have bought for, a smaller sum.
Yeah, it's 145 million market cap too, so that's something to take into consideration. Because like some of these, you'll see like, oh wow, that's pretty high, but it's also $5 billion.
Yeah.
Like it's you have to somewhat break that value down. Expensify, I saw someone had bought there. This American Software, I was looking at that last time. This one had a huge bounce. Did you see this one?
Yeah, it showed up in my movers.
Sorry, it's a 5-year chart. It doesn't look as impressive, but this is the same thing. Some of these huge drops you see on these.
Yeah,
I'm starting to see a turnaround there too. But kind of similar to ALTO right now. Had a little bit of a pullback on Friday.
Yeah.
All right, I think these are updated. So I have not looked at this for my database yet. So this is LLAP. Terran Orbital Corporation is a manufacturer of satellite products, primarily serving the aerospace and defense industry. Provides end-to-end satellite solutions by combining satellite design, production, launch, planning, mission operations, basically everything. Its product and services offerings include mission support, launch support services, design and other services, and it provides the integrated design, manufacturing, and assembly of satellites suitable for the specific needs of its customers' missions. So, space, bullish, super bullish.
Space is always bullish.
Yeah, it's the future.
Yeah.
Looks like it's saddled with a little bit of debt here. So, they are... It's still young. It's a young company. You can tell it's not profitable yet. So it's important to keep that in mind. They do have some cash, but they are diluting as well as increasing debt right now. So still definitely in the early stages of the company. It looks like cash flow from operations is slowly improving though. So it looks like they're slowly on a better trajectory. Obviously, Not too much to say just yet. Book value is still all negative. Everything's negative. So this is definitely more narrative than anything, or seeing if they can do anything to turn around.
I'm trying to read a little bit on Seeking Alpha about them, because I wish Value were in the chat here, and so he could talk a little bit about what he likes about this company.
Yeah, like I said, there's Terran Orbital awarded Lockheed Martin subcontract. So I mean, this is a big thing too. Like in a company like this that's this small, I think the most important thing to pay attention to is kind of like their backlog and the contracts that they're taking on, how much money they're going to generate from those kind of things. You know, here, this is from May 13th. It's been selected by Lockheed Martin to produce 18 satellite buses for their recent Space Development Agency Tranche 2 tracking layer contract. So, and I'm not saying it's easy to necessarily quantify how much that's worth, but this is from June 4th. Announced the expansion of its capabilities under NASA's long-standing multi-participant rapid spacecraft acquisition contract, blah, blah, blah. Has on-ramped 2 additional space vehicle platforms, which could position Terran Orbital as a premier partner for the space agency, offering a wide range of solutions for diverse missions, the company said. Rapid 4 awards have shared potential ceiling of $6 billion among all contractors selected. So this is another thing too, and I'm sure this is part of the reason he's being bullish right now, is if these guys provide services for like something like NASA or something like that, if they become NASA's go-to company for providing all these solutions for them, I mean, it would be massive to the company. And what's their revenues right now? I mean, revenues are 135. Imagine they start getting contracts worth billions.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, this could be, a multi-bagger from here at least.
Yeah. He said that volume was picking up on Friday at the end of the day, and I see the volume on Friday was 11 million and the average is 3.5 million. So maybe that was what he was on. Like, this is starting to look interesting for more people because of the reasons that you just mentioned there. I think that's what caught his eye with this now.
Yeah, and I mean, it's only a 1-year chart, but definitely found some support down here in this range, and it bounces off here. It very rarely breaks through down here.
Yeah.
It has had a little bit of a run here in the last week, so.
But did you talk about? There seems like there's been a failed deal with Lockheed Martin, that they were going to buy them in April, I think.
Well, it sounds like that was it looks like that takeover was going to be a bad thing. Like, people didn't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like they had a lowball takeover offer, and so it's probably bullish actually that they aren't doing this.
Avoided it. Is LMT, is that Lockheed Martin?
LMK, right? Isn't that what Lockheed Martin is?
Because they are mentioning LMT.
Oh yeah, LMT is Lockheed Martin. Yeah, sorry.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so Lockheed Martin owns 28.3% of Terran's outstanding stock.
Yeah, so maybe that's maybe there's some development on a, that they are buying more or something.
Yeah, Lockheed Martin has a corporation literally created just to own this. And it looks like them, another company, Sophis Investments, and then a Phoenix Partnership own a large chunk of the shares. How many outstanding shares? So there's almost 200.
201.
And these guys own about 135. So there's about 65 outstanding I mean,
There-
there's
there's
actually a
a-
lot of institutional ownerships. I mean, these guys have it 6, 5, 6, 4, and 5
Yeah,
as positions.
yeah.
That's pretty good, actually.
There's a comment here saying, I see the $1 offer from Lockheed as predatory. Like you said, LLAP has proven technology with a growing customer base. Lockheed obviously knows the tech is valuable and that the future's prospects are bright. This looks like opportunistic gamesmanship from a business partner who should be operating in good faith but isn't.
Yeah. Hey,
So,
by the way,
so
Value's here. What's up, Value?
oh,
Morning.
Value's here. Nice.
We're
Hey,
just going
Value.
over LLAP. So we were just going through it, just getting our hands on the
Perfect
story.
time.
So if you have any input you'd like to throw in too, because we're just spitballing ideas. But because obviously this is a young company that is trying to find themselves. So, but let's because I mean 6, 7, that's 21, 30.
He's saying here, Dane, at one LLAP's board was right to adopt a poison pill, so that's why you see the dilution probably.
Gotcha.
With rates set to come down, I wouldn't be surprised if financing options for LLAP improve. And there's a guy who has valued this at $7. So yeah, I think they tried to take them over cheap, and it fell through, and now we're here then. Rivada backlog 2.6 million for LLAP. Many aren't confident they'll come up with the cash for LLAP. Value saying.
Yeah, I'm just reading through some of these comments, trying to get caught up to what you're at.
Yeah.
Okay, so Value, yeah, he's talking about their backlog. He said 2.6 billion for LLAP, but many aren't confident that they'll come up with a cash. So that's obviously a but to Value, to your point, he's saying right here, this Tiki Bar Capital is the $2.4 billion Rivada contract was a big deal, and then there was a lot of speculation that they would back out. That didn't happen. Rivada just made its first big payment. So this is a D-SPAC too, which is probably why it sold off so hard in the first place.
Yeah. Value's just confirming now that LMT offer was for $1 per share. Lowball and company adopted poison pill to block takeover.
Gotcha. Well, if they were able to block it, I mean, that's somewhat bullish. I mean, I get it. That's kind of why it's gotten dragged down here. But if you think about it, on a fundamental note, these numbers are probably more attractive than they seem because while these are negative, this is after a large dilution by these guys. So these numbers would be higher if they hadn't had to dilute. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's a 30% dilution here, so this should be 30% better. So like it should be like minus like 18 cents is what I'm saying, not 24.
Yeah. Yeah. Value is saying this week there was a Jeffries conference and the LLAP CEO said he expects a payment from Rivada in the coming days. If that payment comes, it will be highly bullish.
I guarantee you that's that news right there. What was that? That was this week. I guarantee you that's why this is picking up here.
Yeah. And you saw the volume increase to 11 million.
I mean, it's definitely an interesting story.
Yeah. How long have you been following this Value?
You know what? That's not what I want to do.
Been with LLAP about a year now. Okay.
Gotcha.
I see there's a short interest here, 10.5% too.
Yeah, so it could be, actually, it could be squeezed if they do get the Revita payment. So, because I think Randall brings up a good point. They'll either need to see some kind of substantial evidence that Revata gave money, or we should watch out for some kind of reverse split because they're going to have to regain compliance now because the stock price is below $1. So, not that that's the end of the world, but you know how companies, you know how people take that. And Plan Man says that they received their first satellite from LLAP in December, as shown by the $6 million line item. Delivery should start in the next 2 months or 2 quarters and ramp quickly. And he said he really got into it after it's under $1. Yeah, I think that's probably a more interesting place to start to really watch this one. And they said their cash burns 100 million, so I don't. They do have to figure this out relatively soon. Is the only thing. Looks like we're just having a technical difficulty here. So I'm going to just pause everything for just a moment, guys. We'll be right back. Don't go nowhere. All right, guys. Sorry about that. We're back.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah. But either way, we're back. I just had up here because I was just looking at the... I've been trying to pay attention to the open interest on options contracts for some of these companies. Because I do feel like there's always someone who knows. There's someone who knows if one of these contracts is going to go through, and they tell their best friend's cousin to invest, $5 billion real quick in one of these. So, so I just keeping an eye out. I was looking, even December 2024. There's actually there's a decent amount of open interest. I mean, this is, just 200 were opened on 625 for a $2 call for December. So, I mean, someone's bullish there. 200 option contracts. And then, if you zoom in, there is some open interest in the near term, but not as nearly as once you go out a little bit. No one cares about August, apparently. September has a lot of open interest. So,
All right.
a lot more calls than there are puts. So, something it's just something else I'm looking at. And I like how
That's interesting.
it's right in Seeking Alpha. It shows you that.
Yeah. And especially also with the 10% short interest. And, Seeking Alpha is pretty good, right? Where you get a lot of information there. And you have the paid version, right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty
no,
good,
I think it's worth it.
Yeah.
And I'm in no way affiliated with Seeking Alpha. No one pays me to say that.
No.
I think it's good. No one pays me anything, trust me. No one cares at all.
No. No. And I don't think our plan is to do anything like that on the stream even.
Right.
But interesting ticker value.
Yeah, I definitely think there's a story here. And it's probably not a bad idea. I know you said you were averaging down value, but if you're going to get in here, I could see taking a small position somewhere down here and letting things ride because the chart, like we said, starting to turn around, and I also think too that if they do get that first payment, if they're able to prove that they get those payments, it's $2 billion. So I don't know how much the payment is, but I mean that would massively change things for a company that has 135 in revenues.
Yeah.
$2 billion would be substantial. Now I don't know what their costs of making all this stuff would be, and how much that would actually turn into earnings. But just something to think about. I like the narrative. It's too young. It just kind of like needs more right now. Whoops. I'll throw it on deck. It's kind of a turnaround story. Yeah, I'll leave it there.
Yeah.
And like I said, not super confident in it, but I do think it could be worth taking a position, just on the basis that it's a possible turnaround story. Obviously, it's struggling in terms of price. I think like a great price to be would be somewhere in this lower range there, like I said, like around 70 cents. I don't know if it will get back down to that. I mean, we're only at 82. And if that contract works out, what could it be worth? Oof, I don't know. A lot more than now.
There was a guy who had a $7 evaluation on it.
All right, we'll go with that guy. $7.
Yeah.
Thanks, guy. There you go. You heard it here. That is strong analysis right there.
There's a guy on the internet with a price target.
$7. I mean, you might as well just throw everything you got in it. What could go wrong there? Don't do that. Did you want to just keep moving through some of the names that you had sent me?
Yeah.
All right. Xerox is reaching its deathbed here.
The lows.
It is at the lows, and still generates pretty good cash flow.
Yeah, I agree. And the short interest 14%. We have covered this before. We saw that Carl Icahn is out. He has been in it for quite some time, and I think he sold his entire position back in September or something.
Yeah.
So he's not involved anymore. Do you have a big share repurchase in the last year?
Yeah, I do. Looks like 20, almost 30 million shares actually were repurchased. They're paying their debt down. It's still high, don't get me wrong, at 3.6 billion, but it's better than almost 5 or higher. It was way higher before. Now assets are coming down. They do have a decent amount of cash on hand right now, but their short-term debt's still high too, so that cash isn't really all that impressive.
No.
The past few years have been pretty rough, negative even on EBITDA, which, anytime it's like negative on EBITDA, it's like you're really grasping for straws, especially in like an older company like this. But they are being shareholder friendly. Do they pay dividends still? They do.
Yeah, they do.
It went down, so I wouldn't put too much credence on that.
No. It's also interesting to notice though that the 52-week high here, it's just below $20. So it's not like it has been that much higher from today's level in the past year,
Yeah. And like you said too, we're definitely reaching a bottom here, at least on the chart.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes me wonder quite how much we have to go here.
Yeah, I was. I'm sure we talked about this last time. I can't really remember. What do you think about when a guy like Carl Icahn sells out completely in this company, and he has been in it for quite some time, and I think he took a big loss. What are your thoughts on something like that?
Well, he's a very active investor. So when Carl Icahn comes in, he's trying to change things up on the board. He's trying to change everything around about a company. Regardless of if you agree with him or not, I imagine he came into Xerox. Xerox is an old name. They were copiers and printers, fax machines, all that kind of stuff. Super popular, but in the past, 20 years, that whole industry's been on the decline. There's a lot less paper. People aren't faxing, as often as they used to be. We print a lot less than we probably did at one point. So it is a slowly dying business. Now, is paper going away? No. Paper will be there for a long time. It's just the convenience of having something and having it on paper. So I do think there's a point that this business probably just kind of like chills and hangs out there. What's the upside here? It's tough to say.
Yeah. And I pulled up the chart now on a daily, and I think this can drop more.
Yeah. It's obviously in a huge downturn right now.
Yeah. But if it does drop more, and we look at the free cash flow they have, it's not bad. It's reaching a level where it starts to be a bit interesting,
Yeah, and trading here, even with that debt right now, I have that it could be worth about $15. So,
yeah.
That's a small return in the midterm. Nothing crazy. Like I said, I don't put too much onus on this dividend here, especially if they're trying to continue purchasing shares back. The share purchase right now, it's like with that debt on hand, I'd rather kind of see them start to pay that debt down.
I was thinking, did you what do you have for debt last year compared to this year? Because mine is up a little bit.
I think mine's down. Oh no, it is up a little bit. Yeah, about 400. So,
and that's in the same time where they purchase a lot of shares back, which is a little bit weird to me.
Yeah, and I think some of these companies, they do that and they're trying to like do that for shareholders. It's supposed to be like a thing to shareholders. And to be honest, I mean, debt is probably easier to handle than shareholders. You know what I mean? Like shareholders, you have to constantly kind of keep happy. Where debt is like you're just paying the interest. You know, and as long as you can pay that interest, that's all your concern is. So I don't know. Maybe they're thinking that.
Because I also have some acquisitions in the same time period. Do you have that as well?
I do. They also have preferable, or preferred shares, which isn't great.
No.
Yeah, it looks like they're selling off some pieces of the business.
Sorry?
It looks like they're selling some pieces of the business.
Okay. Oh yeah. That's what I meant. I have sales. Sorry.
No, it's all good.
Yeah.
I'm curious during COVID why they had such great years. Was that because everybody was at home and they were sending stuff back and forth to each other, or what?
I'm not sure about that. And when did Icon enter here? Was that in that period or?
I thought he's been in this for a long time.
For a long time, yeah. I think I remember the same.
I mean, they have a significant amount in pensions that they have to deal with.
All right. Yeah, I just found it interesting because in the past, Xerox has been like it's not attractive enough for me because the price has been too high. But now it's at the lows, and I just have a feeling it can drop a lower this one. So it would be interesting to see if it actually does, because at some point this starts to be a little bit interesting, at least I think.
Mm-hmm. So they just, in March 2024, they raised 500 million through senior notes that are due in 2029. This is the thing, though, at almost 9%.
Yeah, okay.
So, I mean, they definitely are paying a lot in their debt here.
Yeah.
I just want to go to FINRA real quick and just see if we get an idea of what people are paying for these. And they got stuff, they have maturity dates in 2039.
Yeah. So maybe they have, and I think they've had like, it seems like they managed the debt pretty well all this time, right? And they have paid it down. If you go back, 10 years, it is down.
I mean, they have a lot of outstanding some of these are doing, actually, they might have rebought those. It looks like these 2025 ones are gone right now.
I think I will send another mail to FINRA.
Telling them how great their website is now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, that's slightly concerning.
Yeah, it is. And There seems like some things that doesn't really make sense here. Like you said, that they, you see a lot of things that they do maybe just to keep shareholders happy, and then the question is, what if they face like a problem where they can't do that anymore? This would plummet a little bit, you know?
Right.
Because they are. I guess it's a reason that they are where they are. And like I said, I think this has the potential to drop even further.
Yeah, I kind of agree right here. I'll probably keep an eye on it, but...
And I think if you look at the book value also at around $21, I think I can see it goes up to between, like you said, 15 to 20 maybe. But then for it to be interesting, it would need to drop maybe to, you know, at levels where it's a long time since it has been.
Yeah, I think it's gonna break this.
It's actually at a historic low almost.
I mean, we'll see. Maybe it gets a bounce here, but I wouldn't be confident in that. I actually think it's gonna break here.
Yeah, same. But worth tracking and keeping an eye on.
Although I will say, I mean, on this bigger pullback too, I mean, volume is kind of weak, but I mean, this is a pretty quick pull down.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, interesting, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Close some of these links here. All right, let me just update Xerox real quick here. Hide that.
And I see on Seeking that they have some of the, what do you call them, like the analysts have changed the rating to a sell rating on them, very recent now.
Yeah, I could see that too.
Yeah, it says Citi also set a price target of 11 for the printing company, so it's above their target right now.
Yeah, I was actually thinking 11 on the lower side here, but like you said too, that's historic lows, and to be honest, besides the share repurchase and the fact that, I mean, they do have their debt down to 3.5, which is better than it's been, but they're just burning cash now, and they burnt cash for the past 3 years. So I don't understand what they're going to do besides continuing to increase that debt amount. I mean, at this point, they basically need a miracle right now for something to come in and turn this around.
They are a bit trapped with those interest rates too, that they need to manage them, and it would be interesting to see also the short interest here if it grows and keeps dropping.
Yeah, I think this is going to find a new bottom.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I looked at their cost and expenses, and it's pretty high too, and it has been high for years.
Yeah, I'm gonna start.
So I think they're gonna struggle to get
somewhere in here. All right.
Yeah.
Next one that we have is designer brands. We've looked at them a few times. Producer and retailer of footwear brands and accessories. They operate through their retail segment. They have a Canadian retail segment and the brand portfolio segment. So they have DSW, which is a shoe store. It's pretty popular in the States here. Their Canadian segment operates the shoe company and DSW banners through its direct-to-consumer Canadian stores and e-commerce site. So to be honest, they're also, it looks like they're really pushing to get into the e-retail side of things. And then it has branded products on its direct-to-consumers through Vince Camuto, Keats, Hush Puppies, and Topo brands. So a few different brand names that they specifically own, as well as they also have just a mix of shoes from everybody that they sell in their like warehouse type stores. And now they're getting into the e-commerce business, it looks like. So
Yeah.
you don't have, is there any of these stores in Europe, or is this only in America?
I'm not sure if they are in Europe. They are not where I live, so
Yeah, they're kind of more popular. They usually have bigger stores in the malls, but I mean, mall traffic in the States is really down now. It's kind of, I think, just with in general being able to buy everything on Amazon and all these other companies that like going to the mall is rarer now. There's still like, I feel like there's just less malls and only a few of them are really like doing okay.
yeah.
There's a lot of like nonsense stores in malls these days.
It seems like they have purchased back some shares as well. The margins are down a bit, I see, the last years. And they still generate cash flow. What do you have for free cash flow? I have around $1, a little bit more.
Yeah, I got 111. So
yeah. I will say though, I'm looking at the short interest, 31% in. That's pretty high.
31% of float?
Let me check in my source here. Percentage of flow, 30.86 if you go to Wall Street Journal.
Yeah, that's pretty high. There's still positive earnings wise, but it's definitely on a downturn here.
Yeah.
And my bigger concern is they have quite a bit of debt and they don't keep much cash on hand. Now, let me see, because a lot of that could be operating leases.
Yeah, it probably is, right?
I would imagine a big chunk of it's operating leases, which, not to say it's not debt, but you know how we feel about operating leases anyways.
Yeah. And I'm looking at the chart. It does look interesting here to me, a little bit at least.
Yeah,
almost
657 of it is operating lease. So they have about 470. Sorry? They have about 470 million in long term.
Okay, so that's a huge difference from the number in the sheet.
Yeah, oh, it's definitely a big deal. So actually, I want to go back to that and I'll let you know when it's due.
I'm checking the owners.
They have a revolver due in 2027.
Okay.
So that's not really that big of a deal. The term loan. It says the term loan matures at the earliest of the date the ABL revolver matures, which is March 2027, or 5 years from closing of the term loan, which is June 2028. So either way, they have till 2027, 2028 until there's any kind of like issue. Essentially, I'm just checking the covenants real quick. It looks like everything's okay. Yeah, they're in compliance with everything as of May 4th, so it's not an issue right now.
No. I looked at the insiders, and I remember this name from Roaring Kitty streams as well. I think he covered this, and then he saw this guy Jay Schottenstein was purchasing quite a bit back in 2021, which the position, if he has held on to it, is cut in half. Because he bought at $13 and $14, but it seems like he's still owning it, right?
Yeah, I mean it's it's definitely one where, I mean, they're okay right now. The big thing is what are these guys doing that it's going to turn this around, because they really need to either bump up their e-commerce sales or do something to attract people back into their stores, because it looks ugly. They're
Yeah.
paying a dividend still, which is kind of ridiculous in my opinion.
Yeah, they do.
I don't know why.
They have cut it in the past though, so
That's what I'm saying. I would just, they went down to 0 during COVID, and then they tried to bump it back up these past few years. And,
yeah.
you need money to keep your store afloat. You don't need to. I get it. They're trying to keep past shareholders happy, but
It's a little bit the same with the Xerox. You see the share buybacks and the dividend, but the debt is increasing, even though I know it was operating leases, a lot of it.
yeah, but still, it's still a concern because they're not generating cash right now.
Yeah. But the 31% short interest, though, do you think it's deserved?
No, I think that's definitely over. It's almost like that makes me actually kind of like bullish in terms of
A turnaround?
yeah, some kind of turnaround. I mean, not turnaround in terms of the business, but like on the chart, like you could definitely watch where this like bounces back pretty hard if there was any kind of positive news. But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I want to know.
Look, there's an article here where I'm just reading a little bit of the summary. He has a hold rating. Design Brands reported weak financials in Q4 due to inventory management, but reported a gradual improvement in Q1 as assortment, marketing, and omni-channel efforts started to show results. The company expects the improvements momentum to continue into full year 2024 and beyond, and I believe that investors should start to look closely for sequential improvements in sales.
Yeah.
So maybe they have maybe they are turning things around a little bit.
Yeah, and it said their gross profit increased to 245 million from 237 million a year ago, and margin rate was up a little bit, about 1%. CEO says, moving forward, we'll continue to prioritize our strategic commitments to revitalize our assortment, elevated marketing, enhance the in-store and digital experience, while exploring areas to further rationalize our cost base appropriately, streamline our operations, and drive greater efficiencies. We believe we're on solid footing as we enter the summer months and are planning to reaffirm our guidance for 2024. Looking ahead, Designer Brands sees full year EPS of 70 to 80 cents versus the 76 cent consensus. So, I mean, they're definitely at lows right now.
Yeah, they are.
And to be honest, right now I only got 32 cents in the trailing 12 months for this. Now, granted, I imagine the next 2 quarters are probably bigger, as in you got a lot of people going back to school and that kind of stuff in the fall, and also the next quarter being more around the holiday season where a lot more people are probably going to buy shoes and stuff like that. So we're probably at like the weaker part of their cycle. But still, I mean, that's concerning that they're talking full year EPS is only 70 cents a share. Because I have the year before it was at $2.30. So now we're talking 70 cents.
I was reading, so what did it say now?
I was just saying that they said for 2024 EPS is 70 cents, or that's what guidance is. And the year before they were $2.30.
Yeah.
So
I also have I have 221.
Revenues are slightly down. Margins have improved. I don't know. I mean, it's sold off so much now that maybe it's starting to look more interesting down here.
Yeah. Have you looked at the chart?
I did pull up the chart. Which, it's definitely at lows. I mean, let me look at a longer chart.
Oh.
It rarely gets down here. I mean, COVID, it bounced way past this, and then once in 2023, and almost similar
Next one
time
is
frame. It bounced back right now. Last year.
Yeah.
So what is this, May, June? So where was the last May, June? There's not really any correlation in terms of seasonality in the chart, so...
No. Well, they need something though, but it is interesting that there might be like a little bit of a turnaround story already going on here. Where I thought maybe Xerox can continue to drop, I'm a bit more uncertain about if these guys will continue to drop. What do you think?
I think I think they got a ways to go. I don't know. I'm pulling up the web page.
Yeah. It went down to 6, almost around 6 exactly in 23 there. That was ahead of an earnings report.
They're talking about how they're donating all this money to these different charities and stuff, which is, I'm not saying that's not a good, honest thing to be doing, but maybe cut back on the donations while you're trying to, survive.
Yeah. There will be 0 donations if they go bankrupt.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like, if you're trying to look at the long term here and you want donations to continue, you hold on to that.
They have made some acquisitions in the past 2 years, though. I wonder, have people... What do people think about management here? Have you seen any comments?
No, I haven't. Have you looked at what's the beneficial ownership?
No, I just saw it was 13%, and then I just assumed that it was that Schottenstein guy who bought a ton back in 21.
Gotcha.
There's very few comments on these articles. It's not a lot of interest in this, I think.
I do think it's kind of wild that the short interest is.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm confused on these numbers.
I think I'll add them to my tracker.
So it says implied shares outstanding is 57 million. Then it says the float is 42 million. Then it says share short is 13. And then it says short percentage of float is 84%.
84. What is going on here?
How's the float 42 million? 13 is not 80%. That's like 20% or 25%, somewhere in there. Or even 30. You could argue 30%. Like you said, whatever you said, 30%. That's right. I don't know what Yahoo's getting this number from.
Yeah. No, I looked at your screen now, and I didn't recognize any of those numbers in the sources I looked in.
Well, I'm just saying, I just did the math. 13 goes into 42 about 3 times. So it's like 30% short interest, which is still high. I just want to see if anybody's talking about it. Not really.
No, I didn't see many people saying anything. I think it's a bit. I think this is worth paying a close eye to if it continues to drop even.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think it's quite cheap enough yet, but it's definitely it's that short interest is kind of high for
Yeah.
like where it is. Like it's still profitable. Like I said, it's not great, but it's still profitable. So I mean, he said 70 cents a share. So if you apply a PE of 10, that would be $7.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I mean, it's in a downturn, but you know how much does it go down from here? If they're able to keep it at this rate, sure, it's not great, but we're still starting to hit negative territory, which makes me think if short interest starts to increase on this, it becomes kind of interesting down here.
Yeah. I will put like a price just to alert me around $6. I'm not saying that's a good entry or anything, but I will look at it again and check the chart and stuff if it goes to 6, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think honestly it's probably going to bounce around here in this range.
Yeah, I think so too. But then when is the earnings report then? They have an earnings report coming up in end of August.
I feel like everybody's in August.
Yeah. In the beginning of June, they had theirs, which has led to the big drop here.
Yeah, people are expecting more for sure.
Yeah.
Man, what a random day. You see this big drop here?
Yeah. That was also on the earnings.
And then it recovers in a day. Strange.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll continue to keep an eye on it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of volume here, so some stuff's moving around, but I wonder if this is the shorts right here adding, because you know, for all that volume, 27 million in volume, and the stock price barely moved. Always seems strange to me. And this wouldn't even be reflected in the actual share price. What is this on high short interest? Is it, where is that stupid thing?
No, they were not there.
Really, with 30%?
Yeah, they are not there.
How often? Weird. I wonder how often this webpage
it
updates.
says at the bottom, I think.
It says it last updated on June 28th. That can't be right.
Yeah. But I've seen that before. Like there's a lot of tickers that are missing. But remember in Yahoo it said 22%, right? Does that qualify to this page?
Maybe it's not about the float. Maybe it's short interest and related to outstanding shares. But even on outstanding shares, according to Yahoo, it should be
it should be on that list.
Yeah, it should be on that list. The only other thing I can think is maybe some of the shorts were getting out that day. I don't know. It'll be interesting. I'll definitely try and make a mental note to myself to just double check the short interest going forward.
Yeah, I wrote that too, like for things to watch on for moving forward.
Because it could have been people were shorting in here, and this was them getting out of their shorts. So maybe that number's dropped if that's updated from June 28th. Maybe that number is low.
But in my data where I pulled the short interest from, it says like a monthly change of 3%. you know, up even.
Yeah, does Seeking Alpha show short interest?
I'm not sure about it.
Oh, if you go under earnings here, this is where it shows you the revisions, by the way, that we were talking about.
Yeah.
That's convenient.
Yeah, okay. I'm sending you a link to another page with short interest. Maybe you can pull it up there, because I used to use Wall Street Journal, but then it didn't allow me to pull in the data anymore, so I switched over to this one. It's pretty good too.
All right, yeah, I'll have to start using that one. I'm just peeking through now, like, because there's like so many little things in Seeking Alpha sometimes, and it's like nice to just kind of play around with these and see what's going on.
Yeah.
Check out the options. There is quite a bit of open interest, about $7 or $8 currently. I mean, that's July 19th, so people are thinking it can bounce back up.
Yeah.
Just looking at the options, it looks like people are more bullish than negative going forward.
Yeah, I can see that. And definitely near term. There's a lot of volume there at 8.
Yeah.
Well, I added them, but it needs to drop more.
Yeah, I gotta just update mine.
You know, they are still above book value. I got book value of 624, and that's without the dilution that you have.
I'll say 6 on the low side, and then I don't think it's too expensive. Oh, I'm just updating my thing.
Yeah.
It is funny to look back at how I looked at things before, and just in like, you know, such a short amount of time, I like kind of really adjust what I'm thinking about things.
Sometimes I pull up the trackers that I added in the beginning, and I look at the comments I wrote. And not that I write super good comments now, but they are just very different.
Yeah. What do I think upside is here? I feel like this could get to like 8, maybe 9.
Yeah, I was gonna say like 9 to 10.
I'll say 9 on the high side for me.
Yeah.
That would be a 50% return from 6. So.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's definitely. I'm gonna be interested around 6.
Around what?
No, around 6. It would be interesting to pull it up again and look at the chart and go through if there has been some insider buy or a change in the short interest and stuff like that. You know.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. I just would like to see a little bit more information. If I'll keep an eye out. If I do see anybody mention that the short interest has like really went up or something like that, it would definitely be interesting.
Yeah.
Because I agree around here. I mean, I don't think $7 is a crazy price for it.
No.
And they were saying it guidance could be as high as $8 for EPS. So 70 cents is actually their conservative mark.
Yeah. Okay. In a company like this, though, retained earnings is also not so high. What do you think about that?
I mean, you know, obviously I'd like to see it higher, but It's positive. First off, they are buying shares back.
Yeah.
Like I said, they do pay a dividend, which I'm not excited about that, but they do pay one. So
yeah.
And I'm not saying they shouldn't have debt. I mean, it's not like debt's a bad thing for them especially if they're trying to be more efficient with their cash. It's more just in this interest rate environment and stuff. Like it's they got to start to pull some of that back.
Yeah. And that's where maybe you will get a bigger drop on news that they have to deal with the near-term debt there, because they don't have so much cash on their hands right now.
Right.
Okay. DBI.
All right. I do probably got to start to call it.
Yeah. All good. Well, with my technical issues, we have reached 2 hours now, have we not?
Yeah, around there. Yeah, sorry guys for the technical issue. It's sometimes it happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll go through some of these other ones. And like I said, I'll update you guys on Tuesday, kind of where I'm at and what I think's looking good here. Next week is July 4th here in the States. It's our Independence Day.
True.
So we'll have a day off. So I don't know. Are you going to stream on Thursday then?
Which day is 4? That's on Thursday.
Yeah, it's a Thursday. That's what I'm saying. So the markets will be closed and everything, and everybody. It's a pretty big holiday here, and a lot of people have Friday off too. So a lot of people do something for the whole weekend.
Yeah, I what do you think? I'm probably not gonna. Well, the stream is gonna be recorded anyways and be there as a video, but.
It's up to you. I mean, either that, or you could do Friday, or we could just maybe even skip Thursday and just do a Saturday or Sunday stream.
Yeah, maybe we should do that, because if you go Tuesday, it's not. If something crazy happens, like in the tickers we follow, I might jump on maybe then. But maybe it's better just to do Tuesday, Saturday or something, because you also wanted to change to Monday, didn't you?
Yeah, I keep going back and forth. For now, I'm going to stick with Tuesday. Okay. Because the other thing with Monday is, like, for instance, sometimes it's just easier for us. Like, we want to do it on Sunday because it makes more sense for the rest of our life, what's ever going on. And if we're doing Sunday, like, it's like, don't get me wrong, it's fine to do Sunday and Monday. But I feel like it's nice to have a little bit more of a break in there, just to kind of see how things have changed in that time period.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, but let's see. We will, as always, update on our X then, and then I might skip the Thursday one this coming week. I didn't think about the 4th of July, but if I don't see all the people that are watching us from the USA then before the National Day there, I hope you enjoyed the celebration and everything, and that the week will be good,
Yeah, hopefully the weather holds out. That's always the big thing. Is it's actually like, I love that our Independence Day is in July, because the weather's always like beautiful, But hopefully it just doesn't rain out the whole time, because you never know this time of year either. But
true.
All right, well, I don't think I have too much more to add. Did you take any new positions or anything this week?
No, I haven't. I'm interested. I'm still interested in AMRK. I saw it dropped further. It's 32 now, something. I'm watching it closely. My cash position is not too high now, so I need to wait a little bit longer before I can do something, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I still I haven't taken a big position in anything. I'm kind of like still just kind of playing around with things. I don't want to hop in anything too early, or when I don't have enough conviction. Obviously, ALTO's growing in position size, so that's good. But and some of the other ones are up there, but part of the reason DK for me has grown is just because I like where it's at right now. I don't know how big of a move it's going to make, but that's kind of why it's grown to that large of a position size as well. Probably more going to do more of a trade on that one, but I still like it. I still think things looked interesting on it for me, so that's kind of why I'm there. And then yeah, we'll see. We'll see what this week brings. Hopefully, like I said, it'll be a short week. Usually July is a bullish month history-wise. Usually a lot of stuff's up in July, so that's good. You know, just in general. Who knows how much that actually matters for a few companies, but.
You think we will see another big purchase from Coliseum at $18 in Mastercraft? Because I think we will see more purchases from them down here.
Yeah, I mean, they seem like they slowly just keep building a position in something that they like, and you know that they're gonna hang on to it for a substantial amount of time. So if they were buying down here, I mean, I don't know how much capital, I don't know what size position they want to get it to, but they're not afraid to take 10% positions in things. So
I think I managed to pull up their portfolio, and Mastercraft was not like one of the biggest or anything like that. So I assume they have, like you said, that they plan to build the position a bit bigger, probably.
Yeah, and I think Mastercraft too is like we've said, I think it's at its cyclical low type period. So I think this makes sense why they're loading up here.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see what the rest of the market thinks, but
yeah. But it gives me extra confident that they have been in it in the past, and also not only that, but they sold at very, very high at $34.
Yeah,
so
and I could easily see it get back to 30.
Huh?
I said I could easily see it get back to 30.
Yeah, that's my thinking about it as well.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, hope you have a good rest of your weekend. And I'll be on Tuesday, and then Johnny will post if he's going to do anything else. Because, I mean, even if you do it on Thursday, like you said, if people aren't watching live, they can always tune in, follow up, or whatever.
Yeah, and we always have other people, values from New Zealand, and, you know, Max is from Germany, and other parts of the world too. So maybe I will do one, but I will update everyone on X. So
worldwide. We are worldwide.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Everybody have a good rest of your day. Johnny, cheers.
Cheers.
All right, guys. Have a good one.